Thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be joining me on Archive D-Style Boxing. Here, I'm being joined by a great panel right now. Of course, Maestro from Maestro here on YouTube. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out Mano a Mano with him and Kenny T. Kenny T will be joining us in a moment. Joe Habib from Ringside Reporter. Check out the show every Sunday. Check them out. And, of course, we're joined by Mighty Max. How's it going, Mighty Max?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, the artist formerly known as Mini Max, but of course he's outgrown that stage. But everybody subscribe to his channel. Check out his new documentary of Edwin Valero on his channel. But wait till the show's over then you guys go check it out, all right? All right, George of Off the Ropes. You could also catch him on Al Chile with Chicano Prophet. Their show, they're like pirates. They don't have like a set time, I guess. But they're around, approximately around Tuesday to Wednesday, anywhere from 12 noon to 5 p.m. Eastern time. You know what I mean? Hey, but George, how's it going, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Hey, we're glad to have you here. Right out of the gate, we know the story. TMZ put it out, all right? I thought it was a joke at first. I saw it on my Twitter timeline. Tyson beats up a kid or whatever, like on the plane. I'm like, what? I've heard of snakes on a plane. I thought that was cool, but Tyson beating up somebody on a plane? I don't know about that one. Maestro, let's start with you. What's your reaction to Mike Tyson welling away at a passenger behind him?
I mean, excuse me, sorry. Look, I oftentimes joke with people that, you know, there must have been a benefit to live in savage times. You know, savage times meaning the time before what we consider to be like law and order today, right? Savage times meaning you know, if someone offended you, you'd like take out your machete or your sword and just like cut their head off, right? Or, you know, some guy insults you publicly, you know, you gouge his eyes out or whatever. You're bigger than him. You're stronger than him. You can do whatever you want. It's savage times. You know, I used to joke with friends. I mean, what would Maestro be like if we lived in savage times where there was no, you know, repercussions really for doing whatever the hell you want to whomever you want, whenever you want? Luckily, I don't know the answer to that question because guess what, guys? We don't live in savage times. We live in, you know, societies with law, with order, with, you know, crime and punishment. And in the society that we live in, Joe Habib, Georgie, Mighty Max, and D-Style can't just lay hands and slap up and drape up and choke out and stomp whoever the hell we want because they upset us. Those are the rules for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're the former baddest man on the planet / former heavyweight champion of the world. If somebody's annoying you, you don't get to turn around in first class and whoop their ass on a JetBlue flight. I mean, that's just not the way it's supposed to work. Now, if somebody was annoying me like that from behind, or would I want to whoop their ass? Of course I would. Would I? Of course I wouldn't, because I'm not an idiot. I've got too much to lose. I can't afford to get arrested. I can't afford to be put in handcuffs. I can't afford to be put in a holding cell. I can't afford to have to go out and get an attorney and represent me and lose my job and potentially not be able to work in the career that I've decided to work in. Guess what? All of those calculations, Joe, I know you know this. You make grown man calculations literally every single day of your life. Does any day go by where someone doesn't do something stupid, you just want to slap them? Of course not. I mean, at least here in New York City, you know, somebody's too close to me on the subway, someone, you know, steps on my foot, somebody's just being belligerent, obnoxious, whatever the case. But you cannot do it. We don't live in savage times. So, look, was he instigated? Yes. But should he have put hands on the dude? I mean, not unless he wants to go to prison and lose all that he's built up for himself, because he's done a good job at like rebranding the image of Mike Tyson. Let's keep it real. And I'll leave it at that.
My bad. Beeb.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I was on mute there. Beeb, talk to us. I mean, you know, I'm just saying, is somebody's bothering the Beeb on an airplane or taunting him? You know, what does the Beeb do?
Stewardess, can I see you for a minute, please? This man's being very loud. Is there any way we can move his seat or move my seat or have security come in there and do something about this? I don't think I can go through this whole plane ride with this man screaming and yelling over my shoulder. It's very inappropriate. Okay, thank you. The last time I hit someone in anger, 18 years old, right? I've just entered my 53rd year on this planet, so I haven't hit a man in anger in over 30 somewhat years. And the reason why is, see this little scar right here? I don't know if you could see it. It's a little scar right here. That's because he sliced my arm. I had to defend myself. So the Habib clan, we don't strike first, we strike last. That's how we've always lived our lives here.
Yeah.
And that's just how we do it. You know, when you're older and you're able to kind of think things through, it's crazy, right? Did you ever see that movie, The Equalizer? You see how when he entered that room and he's looking at everything in slow motion before it even happens, and he's visualizing what he's going to do before he does it?
Right.
That's a beautiful ability that you have once you enter your 50s. When you're in your 20s, 30s, and even sometimes 40s, you can't see things in slow motion. So when the Beeb enters a room, he just is able to see everything around him, and he can just visualize best case scenario, worst case scenario. What do I got to do here? Everything just slows down, right? Because you can control your testosterone when you're older, right? When you're younger, your testosterone controls you, and you just react without thinking. Mike Tyson's at an age where he should be able to be in a situation and think ahead and not be so impulsive, right? But he was impulsive, right? He acted irresponsibly, right? Now, let me just ask this question. What if he hits that guy so hard where he could probably hurt him severely, give him a concussion, or even hurt him where he maybe gets brain damage because he's a boxer, right? He's knocked out people with 10-ounce gloves on. So he's hitting this guy bare-fisted multiple times. What if he severely injures this guy, right? Why? Because he was yelling over his shoulder? The guy was drunk. He was kind of a younger kid. I mean, obviously, it's going to aggravate you. It's going to piss you off, right? But think of the big picture. Would it have been worth putting this kid in the hospital or possibly maiming this kid because of 5 minutes of discomfort when all you had to do was just get someone, hey, get this guy out of here? I was at the gym today. I was on the treadmill, and there was this jackass behind me at the top of his lungs. I wanted to pick up a 25-pound weight and freaking throw it at him, but I didn't do it. You know what I did? I put my earbuds in.
Those are some violent thoughts.
And I just raised it to freaking 20, and I just blocked the guy out. Okay. Maybe the 25-year-old Beeb would have got off the treadmill and say, hey, man, can you shut the fuck up? And then he probably would have pushed me, then I would have pushed him. But you don't do that when you're 53 years old and you have arthritis in every major joint in your body. You just don't do that, right?
Fair enough.
So Mike Tyson acted very irresponsibly, and it's all over the internet. It's everywhere. It's on YouTube. It's on TMZ. It's all over every website. And this kid that he hit is going to have a nice little payday for himself at the expense of Mike Tyson. So at the end of the day, once again, was that 5 minutes of discomfort and aggravation really worth it? Bieber's going to say no.
All right. Mighty Max, what did you make of the situation, and what are your thoughts on Mike Tyson swinging on a dude on an airplane?
Well, I think there's many things Mike Tyson could have done in that situation, as Beeb mentioned. I think what would have been the smartest thing for Mike Tyson to do is, keep in mind this is one of the most intimidating people on the planet by consensus, everyone. is he could have confronted the guy, gave him a really, really stern warning, and I have a very strong feeling that the guy would have likely calmed down and likely would have, settled down if Mike Tyson did that. If the guy didn't listen, first of all, the guy's already drunk. So if Mike Tyson gets in his face and confronts him, there's a chance that this guy might be stupid enough to actually throw first. And if he throws first, Mike Tyson could retaliate and face much less consequences as well. This guy's probably, as Habib mentioned, get a nice payday out of this. And I mean, if anything, he's probably the biggest winner in this situation. He's on the internet, possibly, some relevance for the first time in his life, really. And he's going to get paid a lot because we know Mike Tyson's made a lot of money. He's definitely going to get a nice little payday out of this. But yeah, I think Mike Tyson should have been much more mature here. I understand why he did it. The guy's being very annoying. But, this is some random guy he's never met before who's clearly drunk. He doesn't need to risk so much just for this guy.
All right. Okay. All right. Let me, before I go to George here, all right, and shout out to Broadway Joel. I'll get to you in a moment too, brother. But I just got to say this, all right? And people aren't going to like what I got to say, but it is what it is. Am I in favor of assault? No, I'm not. Okay. But do I feel sorry for this jackass? Right? Look at that dude. Look, this dude is a jackass, is what he is. Okay. Standing behind Mike. Look at this dude. Like, he's not even sitting down, bro. This is first class. You're right behind a dude. And for what I heard, this happened for a while. Okay. So while I'm not saying, hey, assault the guy. I don't feel sorry for this guy. And he's still joking around. Look, he thinks it's funny. Right? He's making a little pouty face, and he turns around. Oh, look at me, Tyson. Me dio unos bachones. Like, all I know is that he had it coming. Okay, maybe not legally, maybe not that, but I don't know if I could take somebody behind me talking shit to me that long. Right? I'm human. It's possible I could turn around and smack somebody if they were to do this too long to me. Right? I don't know if I have that like patience if I was being harassed like this day after day after day after day, because none of us get harassed this way. None of us. Okay. He's at a UFC event. There's people behind him trying to get selfies, like grabbing him by the shoulder without his permission to take pictures. It's just constant over and over. It wasn't this was the camel that broke. I'm sorry. This is the straw that broke the camel's back is what this was. Okay. If I was a police officer called to the scene, yes, I would arrest Mike Tyson because assault's against the law, but I would still be like, I don't want to arrest you, but I got to arrest you. It's how I would feel about it. Right. That's my personal opinion. Look at this dude. This dude just looks like a dude that had it coming. Right? George. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts. Yeah, he did definitely have it coming to him. I don't feel bad for the guy. He did get what was coming to him. A couple questions I ask is, I know Mike Tyson now walks around freely, right? Like you really don't see him with security, but I mean, I think after this, you might see him maybe with like an extra guy or two with him everywhere he goes, just for these kind of situations. So. I mean, yeah, he's obnoxious, man. That was pretty fucked up. And then I don't know if you guys saw this. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. Mike Tyson actually, I don't know if you want to say disarmed a guy like at some comedy show, but this guy was being obnoxious, and Mike Tyson walked over to him, and I don't know what he said. He got him to calm down. So I'm sure Mike Tyson comes across these situations all the time, because who he is. He's Mike Tyson. People get crazy and they don't know how to act when they see somebody, of this star power that Mike Tyson is. So yeah, Beeb too. You're right, man. He should have, called for somebody, flight attendant, somebody, or even, I mean, we only saw 30 seconds of this, and within that happening or whatever, maybe someone should have came across, pulled the dude to the side. But it might not be that bad for Mike Tyson. It might be bad, but we can all hope that nothing happens bad where he's going to be given money. And I mean, maybe somebody might side with him. Maybe they might side with him and be like, it is the law. You're not supposed to put your hands on people, but it's fucked up. Dude did have it coming to him. And I agree. Mike Tyson shouldn't have put his hands on him. Mike Tyson has had a great, I guess, a second win in his career or his life, licking toads, DMT, has his own weed farm and great success for him. He's done Broadway shows. So it sucks to see that happen. You know, I hope nothing bad happens where he loses some money, but you know, Mike Tyson he's always been, you know, I met him before in Phoenix, and he seems like a pretty cool guy, and he has a security. But I think, like I said, one of the first questions for me is, where was the security? The security should have been there.
Yeah, no, I definitely, I hear you, brother. Broadway Joe, how you doing, brother? Welcome to the roundtable.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
And talk to us. What did you make of the Mike Tyson situation in the plane?
Listen, man, I'm from Brooklyn, and I'm not like a tough guy. I'm not one of the guys that think like I'm a gangster. Like, I'm not that guy. I'm a normal civilian. I have a job. I never sold drugs. But at the end of the day, it's just a sign of respect as a man. And I'm from Brooklyn, just like Mike. You're gonna be on the plane disrespecting me, clowning me, doing whatever you're doing. You know, it gets to a certain point where it's like, all right, I get I'm a celebrity, and I get, you know, I'm gonna be bothered to a little bit. But at some point, it's like, yo, I'm a man first, you know? Whatever you want to think, I'm a celebrity. I'm this funny guy that now has a hot box in YouTube, but I'm a man. I'm a man that does all these things. I'm a man that was a boxing. And just as a man, I wouldn't go up to D-Style while he's on the plane. Probably, I ain't see who was next to him, but let's just say his wife or his friends or whoever was next to him, and disrespect D-Style for 20 minutes and expect not D-Style to do something to me, or at least say something to me. So again, I'm with it. I'm cool. Shout out to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson got all my support. Yeah, listen, he's behind me right here. Y'all know I was gonna be biased, and I'm from Brooklyn. So nah, you don't bother people to the point where you provoke them to do something to you and then you sue them. Get the fuck out of here, man. I wish that the divider wasn't there between them and Mike Tyson really could have put hands on him. That's how I feel about it. Nah, man, I'm big on respecting people.
All right. Anybody else want to follow up before we proceed?
No, I mean, I have no sympathy for the guy that got beat up. I'm just thinking of it as, you know, Mike's perspective and all the things he could potentially lose with the guy, you know, being a bit of a coward and suing Mike and, you know, trying to capitalize on this opportunity. So I think when you look at it in that stance, Mike shouldn't have done it. But, you know, if I was, you know, if I controlled all the rules in the world, you know, I would have no issue with what Mike Tyson did and he would not get any repercussion. But, you know, if the way the law system works, it was definitely a risky idea for sure for Mike.
Mike got it. Mike got the money. He could afford to lose 200,000, 300,000. He good. He good.
Well, all I know is this, right?
Go
ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, look, if I did that, I'd lose a lot more than money. Like a regular person, a civilian that does that, you spending the night in the bullpen at least one night. You're gonna have to go out and get a lawyer. They're gonna be charging you with felony assault. If you have a license, whether it's a social work license or a teaching license, that's just getting revoked. Your career's done, and then you got to ask yourself, and more to the point, tell your wife or whoever why it is that you can't make the mortgage payment. Why it is that, you know, financially your ass is done, and you not only have to look for a new career, like you also have to figure out how to pay bills. Look, everybody would want to put hands on that fool in that moment. I definitely would. And to D-Style's point, like, it's tough. I mean, who knows how we would have felt. But the thing is, too, when you're a celebrity and you know that everybody has cameras in their phones, and you know that your face is recognizable, it's like, look, if I'm on the subway, someone disrespects me, I snuff them, and then I walk off the train and walk up the stairs, nobody's going to know who the hell I am, but I'm not Mike Tyson. So it's a difficult situation. Yeah, look at this fool. I mean, it's like somebody that deserves to get punched just off of that picture.
And also, like, the biggest, Mike Tyson doing this actually gave this guy, you know, a bigger reward than if he just ignored him, because now he has a chance to cash in on this. I mean, I know he's in first class. He probably does well for himself, or at least he got famous or rich parents, because he doesn't really seem like one to make money on his own. But he could definitely make a lot of money off of suing Mike Tyson. If Mike Tyson didn't do this, the guy wouldn't have made $1 off of Mike. But now he has opportunities to make a few $100,000 off of getting punched a few times and, you know, not even getting knocked out.
Why even waste your energy on a guy like this? The guy's clearly a clown. He looks like a kid. All you got to do is just tell the stewardess this guy's bothering me. The guy was drunk. He probably would have got thrown off the plane.
Look, I'll let you respond.
Hold on. Why did it take? Why does it take for Tyson to go and ask a stewardess? Like the guy clearly was making a commotion. Why wasn't the staff already hearing that noise, hearing this guy? At one point, I don't know if you guys caught it. He called Mike Tyson a peasant. So why is he allowed to verbally assault a passenger who's paying top quality dollar to sit in first class? Why wasn't nobody approaching them from the first place?
Well, let me just add this.
He would have been removed.
Well, that's the flaws with the law system. If it was an ideal world, Mike Tyson would be able to beat this guy up and not get any punishment.
I have people come up in my face at my job. I walk away, man. It's not worth it.
You have to admit that none of us experience it at his level. All right, right. He's Mike Tyson. Everybody I know you're Joe Habib. People know who you are, but not like that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
Who was the guy?
But let me make a point, though. Let me make a point.
Hold up. Joe does a job where people actually will get mad at him while he's doing it.
I've done jobs where people get mad at me too, but that's not my point. But let me make my point.
I've had people tell me, I hope you die. If you have kids, I hope they die too. I give someone a ticket, they want to fucking kill me.
I get it, Joe, but at the end of the day, he's Mike Tyson. Like, this guy gets people walk up to him, strangers, not people that he's approaching, just strangers just walk up to him, and he's in a very vulnerable position with his back to him. Like, that's not a very comfortable position to be on, like having somebody over your shoulder like that, shadowing over you. And the reality is he's treating him like he's some fucking like zoo animal or some shit. And he's not a zoo animal, all right? He's a human being. I don't care if he's Mike Tyson. You got to treat him like respect.
Get him off the plane.
And I get it, but Mike Tyson has his way of justice, and he gave it to the kid. That's his form of justice.
Mike Tyson's
his form is that I'm going to beat the fuck out of you, and I bet you will never bother Mike Tyson again.
Mike Tyson ended up walking off the plane, and now he ended up losing his trip because of this kid. He gave this kid too much power over you, man.
Mike Tyson's from Brooklyn, but he's in first class. I mean,
here's the thing, bro. It takes
everyone thinks it's still what makes him. That's still part of
everyone thinks being a man.
One at a time. Go ahead, Beeb.
Everyone thinks being a man is being tough and throwing hands and shit. Sometimes it takes more strength to walk away, bro. It takes more strength to walk away. The dude if the dude touches you, if the dude touches you, and he tries to harm you, that's one thing. But when you're in your 50s, people like.
Tyson's
if someone says fuck you to me, if someone says fuck you to me, am I gonna like go crazy and want to beat him up? I laugh at him, bro.
Okay.
I'm gonna let Broadway Joe. I'm gonna let you respond, but let me just say this: he's in a vulnerable position. He's behind him. You're not facing him. Okay. He's not so he's supposed to guess and see if he's going to do something? He can't just guess.
Turn around and tell the kid to stop bothering him. If he doesn't stop,
maybe he did.
And you go get the stewardess, the kid gets thrown off the plane. It's a quick fix.
I mean, I agree there was other ways to handle it, but he handled it that way. But
quick fix.
Go ahead, Joe.
Now he leaves the plane.
I want to say something.
Walks off the plane.
Everyone's going to get a chance to speak, but we got to do it one at a time. But hold on, baby. Let's let Broadway.
Let me just finish my point. He walks off the plane. He ends up losing his flight. Why? Because of this clown. So who loses in the end?
It might have felt satisfying to him, like one way or another. Like I'm just saying,
bro. But this guy might get a few $100,000 out of it, and I really hope Mike hires some good lawyers because I do not want to see this moron, get paid anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
My thing is,
whoa, Broadway Joe, go ahead.
My thing is, this could have been mitigated if the staff would have done their job ahead of time. This guy was obviously drunk, obviously being reckless, and although to be fair, the video doesn't show any employees coming up to him. No employee. Listen, if I'm a stewardess, or what, I don't know how to. What's a guy version of a stewardess?
Call him a stewardess.
They're called flight attendants now.
Flight attendants.
Okay, my bad. If I'm a flight attendant, and I see that happening, regardless if the person's doing it to Mike Tyson or not, I'm going and taking care of that myself. I'm not waiting for the passenger who's being verbally assaulted and mocked to tell me to do my job. I'm gonna get ahead of it and go, "Excuse me, sir. You're acting belligerent. Can you please sit down? Can you please be quiet?" And if the thing persists, then I'm kicking him off the plane. Now, Mike, obviously, maybe he was so angry he didn't think to call the flight attendant. that he reacted in his way. Everybody has a breaking point. You have to understand, Mike Tyson, former heavyweight champion, was a person who learned how to fight, how to box in jail. Like, I understand you guys are saying like he's in his 50s and maybe he should have went about it in a more mature way. And I'm not even disagreeing with that. But what I am saying is that not everybody's going to act the same way you would act in a certain situation. Certain people have a different kind of breaking point. Certain people have a different way of handling things. And this guy was obviously belligerent, obviously verbally assaulting him, and nothing was being done by the flight attendants. So he took it upon himself and handled it his way.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, go ahead, Maestro.
No, this reminds me of a story that was told by Cameron of all people. That also about an incident that took place in the airport where his like entourage, members of the Dipset, saw Lawrence Fishburne in the airport and kept calling him Larry. And when he said, "Don't call me Larry," like they kept calling him Larry like nonstop. And when they asked Cameron, like, why were they doing that? He was like, because they were trying to get him to hit him so that they could sue Lawrence Fishburne to make money. Like, when you're a celebrity, people are trying to do this to you. And when they know you're a hothead, they know to target you. Like, there's a list of celebrities that people have gone after to get paid. One of them, I'm sure all of you know about, is like Alec Baldwin, very known for having a bad temper. This dude's been sued like multiple times.
Oh, did he freeze?
You froze up.
Master froze up there.
All I'm saying is this.
Go ahead and close out with this one. We're going to move on.
Yeah,
People.
close out with this one. I'll be honest with you. I couldn't take that dude serious enough to get angry at him, to be honest with you. I would have just said, I would have got someone and tell him to get him out of here. The dude was a clown. I mean, I can't let someone like that get under my skin. I'm just being honest. I laugh at people like that. I don't get mad at them.
All right. Fair enough. You know what I mean? Fair enough. All right, guys. So this weekend we have a big fight, a heavyweight title fight. Wembley is going to be packed. Dillian Whyte will be challenging the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, for the heavyweight championship of the world, the Gypsy King. I think this is going to be a interesting fight. I just don't think it's going to be competitive. That's my opinion, but everybody can feel differently. Mighty Max, let's start with you, brother. Who you got in this fight? Who's going to win this fight?
You know, this is going to be a really interesting fight. I am looking forward to it. Two big names and pretty meaningful to the heavyweight division, no matter what the outcome is. But what I see happening in this fight is Fury's going to be outboxing Whyte early on. He's going to be picking him apart slowly but surely. And I think within the middle rounds, he's going to start to come forward like he did against Wilder. And by round 8 or 9, I think he's going to knock Dillian Whyte out. I think he'll be up relatively clearly before the KO victory. And the main reason I'm so confident in this, and the main reason I really just don't see Whyte knocking Tyson Fury out is, you know, if Tyson Fury can survive a right hand from Deontay Wilder, he's going to survive a left hook from Dillian Whyte. It's that simple. I strongly believe in that. And, you know, Dillian Whyte has a good work rate. You know, he throws a lot of punches, and especially in the inside. And he's a good inside fighter. And some people think he may be able to outwork Tyson Fury, which I think is very slim as well. I mean, the first Derek Chisora fight for Tyson Fury, he had some issues with that style, but we saw the rematch against Chisora. Keep in mind, a close to prime Derek Chisora, probably a better version of Chisora than the current version of Dillian Whyte. He was able to school him, beat him down, and make him quit in the stool. Fury's also improved since then. He's worked on his power. He can go forward. He can go backwards. I like Dillian Whyte. I'll probably be rooting for him, to be honest, but I see him getting stopped round 8 or 9.
Man, also, and I forgot to ask this, what did you make of the press conference? Anything you saw from that intrigued you? Like, for example, where they were finally face-to-face, and then Tyson Fury decided to tickle him, you know, because that's so great, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and he's talking about how they slept together and all this other stuff. What did you make of all that, Matty Max?
Tyson Fury's been caught saying some suspect stuff in nearly every press conference. I mean, I think I've seen him try to kiss a fighter once. He picked up another fighter, lifted him up. Thing is with Tyson Fury, he talks a lot on social media, and I'm pretty neutral on Fury. I'm not really a fan or a hater of him at all. But the thing with Fury is he talks a lot. He creates all these beefs online, but when it's in person, aside from maybe Wilder, he's been relatively cordial with all of these fighters, and I'm really not surprised that they weren't trash-talking each other as much. You know, it might be mind games to throw Dillian Whyte off, or the whole time they probably never really had any issues with each other. I know they both dislike Anthony Joshua, so maybe that's their common ground. Or maybe, you know, they've known each other for many years, both being in the British boxing scene. But, you know, I'm really not surprised that they were cordial. Not at all.
But real quick to the chat from Kevin M, Mike Big, shout out to you guys, Puerto Rican Rum, Stephen, Andre Rodriguez, Kevin M, Juan Carro, Bruce Goes, Chicano Prophet, the Boxing Historian, all you guys, man. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for being here. Maestro, go ahead and finish any point you had lingering. I know you froze up there about the last topic, and then add to that.
I was just saying that like celebrities are targets for this kind of thing. So, it's like, okay. It is what it is. I mean, one of my first jobs, honestly, was one of my most difficult jobs ever. When I was a teen, I used to referee like little kids playing basketball and like baseball and stuff, and the abuse I would get from parents after these calls that they thought were bad calls is like nothing compared to. I mean, what that guy was saying to Mike Tyson was like literally every time I did one of those games. So, anyways, look. As to Fury and Wilder, Fury.
Two things, of course. What did you make of the face-off press conference?
Yeah.
The tickling, by the way, your boy was tickling the dude. And who's going to win the fight?
Look, one thing that's become clear is that these guys used to be friends. I mean, Whyte used to live at the Furies back when Peter Fury trained Tyson Fury. He had a lot of nice things to say about Peter Fury, actually. Shane Fury said that it's difficult to have any kind of animosity for a guy that you were friends with, who you've been rooting for the past 10 years. That's what Shane Fury said. Tyson Fury's younger brother, the big dude with the beard and who's been blessed with the long hair that Tyson hasn't been blessed with. But that's what I'm talking about. So clearly they have a history. I don't know if they were sleeping together. I think that was just a slip of the tongue by Fury. I think he meant that they had bunk beds and like they were in the same room or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I was happy to see Whyte at the press conference. He also looked like he's in good spirits, which was nice to see. Believe it or not, we were talking earlier about restraint and controlling yourself. It was Tyson Fury who had to like control his dad, who seemed to want to pick a fight with Dillian Whyte's brother. And both of them actually in that moment actually turned to their camps and were like, settle down. So I thought that was interesting. I actually don't think there's a lot of bad blood between these two guys at all. They just seem like guys that are used to be close, who kind of drifted apart, who have come together to do this fight. But there isn't really any bad blood. But I don't think that should change what we're going to see in the ring, because what I think we're going to see is a very action-packed heavyweight fight. I mean, I just don't see any other way for it to go. I don't know if you asked me for my thoughts on the technical side of the fight, D-Star. I think we're going to do that at another point, right?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Well, if we're talking about the technical side of things, Fury's obviously a lot taller. Whyte has not really had a lot of success fighting taller guys at heavyweight. His tallest opponent was probably Whack when he was overweight, fighting him in Saudi Arabia. I just don't see any way Tyson Fury could lose this fight. And honestly, Dillian Whyte often telegraphs a lot of his work, even more so than Deontay Wilder. Dillian Whyte, I don't think is going to be able to outbox Fury on the inside. Fury's actually quite a good inside fighter. I mean, he went about 10 rounds with a bad eye, having to fight almost only on the inside when he was in that fight with Otto Wallin. We've seen him fight on the inside against Wilder too. And obviously on the outside, I think he's definitely got the advantage because he's taller, he's rangier. He also has better footwork. He's got better movement in terms of being able to attack and retreat at angles. So it's very difficult to picture a way that Dillian Whyte wins this fight. It just is. And, I said something on a show I go on Mondays called Undisputed, and, people were kind of upset about it a little bit. But I essentially said if he wins this fight, it's a huge upset. It's like a Buster Douglas Tyson or, Rahman Lewis or Ruiz Joshua or Corey Sanders Klitschko. I mean, it to me, it's that level of upset. well, they got upset with me for saying that because in the UK, Dillian Whyte is viewed to be a lot greater than he is out here in the US. In the US, it's like he's contender status. Some people may even call him a journeyman. I mean, if I listen to what other people say about him on shows, it's pretty harsh critiques of Dillian Whyte. But that's not what he is in the UK, okay? But I still think that if he wins this fight by whatever reason, that it's that level of upset, personally.
All right. All right. Hey, off the ropes. What you think of the press conference? They're finally face to face, and who's going to win this fight, brother?
Yeah, for sure. Press conference. I mean, I have nothing bad to say. It was pretty cool. It's actually pretty common that friends do fight each other. And I guess if you watch the Hot Box interview with Jermall Charlo and Tyson said, about him and Earl Spence, about, if they were to fight one day, like, they can get the bag together because that's what friends do. Tyson fought a couple of his friends, and that's what you see here. There's pictures on Twitter of Fury and Dillian Whyte posing together. They both look pretty ripped. You could tell they were pretty young. So I didn't see an issue with it. I kind of do like the whole respect between two guys. Sometimes it's cool to see, the back and forth, but when you got two guys that are gentlemen, it's really respectful. I dig that. As far as how the fight's gonna go, I am looking forward to this fight. I won't say that I'm like overly excited, but I am looking forward to seeing it because, it's two heavyweights, and when you have two heavyweights, one punch can change everything. But with Tyson Fury, on the technical side, he is a good inside fighter for being a taller guy, good jab, really good footwork. And then it's not overrated. Everybody notices how good he is on the technical standpoint of him being a boxer. But I mean, if Whyte was to land a shot, which I'm sure he might land a punch or two, or he might be able to get one off. It'll be interesting to see exactly how Fury will handle it. And I don't think that Whyte hits harder than Deontay Wilder, but as we've seen as of late, like the last two fights, we have seen Tyson Fury go down. I don't know if you guys caught the live conference where they were, training, and they showed Tyson Fury, typical body shape, or the way he looks like when he comes in shape, a little softer around the belly. But I feel like in this one, he's actually trained to be, to box from the outside. I don't think he was really going to try to exchange too much with Whyte. I do think Whyte has a little bit better stamina and a better gas tank than Wilder. So I think if Whyte was to be able to get a shot off and hurt Fury, I think he does have the chance to actually, finish him off and stop him. But as far as the winner, I'm definitely going with Tyson Fury. If I see it the way I think, he's going to box really good from the outside. He's really good with tying up, and we've seen that. I think he's going to tie him up a little bit, use his weight kind of. A free hand, he's going to dig a little bit to the side. But I could see maybe a late stoppage, anywhere between 9 and 10. I got Tyson Fury in this one.
All right. Hey, shout out to Kenny, man. Stay put, brother. We'll get right at you. Joe Habib, what's up with your boy? Tickling at a press conference. We're supposed to have this serious. It's boxing. It's fisticuffs. Like what? What are you gonna do to the Gypsy King? Woo, tickle. Like, what's going on over here? And then he's talking about sleeping with a dude. Talk to me. I know who's gonna win.
I think both guys were very happy and satisfied at the press conference because they know they're going to make history on Saturday. They know that. They know that they have 94,000 people that are going to be watching them, and this is going to be one of the largest fights in boxing history and probably the largest fight in British boxing history. So I think they're happy with the situation, and they realize that this is bigger than them. This is for British boxing, right? So they're happy. And I think that obviously they have the history together. A lot of people are talking about the power of Dillian Whyte, particularly the left hook. And each time Tyson Fury has been hurt in his career and been knocked down, it's been by the right hand. A lot of people don't know this, but he was knocked down when he was 23 years old against a guy named Nivan Pajovic, and he knocked him down with a right hand. Steve Cunningham knocked him down with a right hand. All the times Deontay Wilder knocked him down, they were from right hands. I've never seen him be hurt by a left hook or get knocked down by a left hook. And, Tyson Fury is training southpaw for this fight. Why do I believe he's doing that? Once again, when you're in the southpaw stance, very hard to land a left hook when you're in the southpaw stance. So they're going to be giving that different look to Dillian Whyte. And a lot of people are talking about, Dillian Whyte being a great inside fighter, but I go back to what I heard Andre Ward say one time, and this has stuck with me ever since he said it. So a lot of guys could fight on the inside offensively, but they can't defend on the inside. And Dillian Whyte is great offensively on the inside, but I don't think he's great defensively on the inside. And we saw that against Beckman on the inside when he was able to land that uppercut and knock him out. Thing about Tyson Fury, he can defend as well as be offensive on the inside. And when I say defend, he can wrap you up with one arm and punch with the free hand. He could wrestle you, maul you, lean on you, and he could grab you and maneuver you and walk you back and release and then punch off the clinch. He just wears you out on the inside, not only with punches, but by the wrestling and the mauling and just putting his weight on you. And Dillian Whyte, I don't believe he has great stamina late in fights. We've seen him kind of wear down late in fights. And I think, he's going to try and fight on the inside. I think Tyson Fury is going to show him a little bit of everything in this fight. But when they do get up close, I think Tyson Fury is going to win that physical match on the inside in terms of the wrestling, the mauling, like I said. And that's going to really tire Dillian Whyte out. So I think what will happen is I think Tyson actually will fight a great part of this fight in the southpaw stance, occasionally switching back to orthodox. And there are going to be times when Dillian Whyte does get in, he's going to let him in. And I think he's going to suck him into something on the inside, may catch him with a left uppercut on the inside, right? And Dillian Whyte may get close. And that's why I think Tyson's going to wrap him up and just body him and lean on him, just sort of like what he did with Steve Cunningham. He's going to do a lot of those physical tactics, kind of nudge him with the forearm, create a little bit of space, throw a mid-range, right hand on occasion. And I just think that Tyson Fury is going to wear Dillian Whyte down. I think as the fight goes on, you're going to see Dillian Whyte get hit more and more and more. Tyson Fury is going to be leaning on him and just wearing him out physically that way. There's just too many advantages Tyson Fury has in this fight, in my opinion. And if you're going into this fight and your Hail Mary and pass is going to be that left hook, right? That your claim to fame is going to be that left hook, which is a punch that Tyson Fury rarely gets hit with and has never really been hurt with or knocked down with. I just think you're going to come up short. And I see Tyson Fury stopping Dillian Whyte in about 9 rounds, in my opinion.
All right. Man, another stoppage for the Gypsy King. Broadway Joe, what did you make at the press conference? All right. And who's going to win?
I really didn't like the press conference. I'm a fan before I'm a YouTuber, before I'm a journalist, before anything. I'm a fan of the sport. Sell me the fight, man. And you going around, playing around, tickle, tickle, tickle. Like, it may be funny to some people, but it's made me less excited for the fight. Not that I was super excited for the fight anyways, but something that happened at the press conference could have gotten me more interested. And you playing around, talk about how you've been friends, and some people claim that him slipping up and saying we slept together was kind of on purpose to, somewhat create a viral moment. I genuinely believe he just misspoke, but some people believe he did it on purpose, and it was just too friendly for me. And I'm not saying you guys got to curse each other out and talk about each other's mother. That's not where I'm going with it. But I just don't like that friendliness. You could just be like, hey, man, we were friends in the past, but this is straight business. Come this Saturday, I'm going to put hands on that man, and we could shake hands afterwards and have a beer. But, as of today, all the way up until the last bell, we're not friends. And the face-off, you get in his face and you don't touch him. You don't say anything. You don't spit in his face. You just get in his face, make a mean face. Sell the fight to me. Sell the fight to me as a fan. Get me excited. And you playing around, tickle is not selling to me. It's not appealing. It's not making me more interested in the fight. So that's my stance on the press conference. As far as how I see the fight going, I see Tyson Fury coming out with a power jab, and anytime Dillian Whyte wants to get in the inside, Tyson Fury is way bigger than him, way taller. Him, just gonna hold him and lean on him, and just lean on him and lean on him. We all seen Dillian Whyte have problems with stamina in the past. That's exactly what happened in the Steve Cunningham fight with Tyson Fury. Cunningham was having a lot of success, but he just resulted to leaning on him, and it got to the point where Cunningham, he lost the fight because the guy was too big for him, and he couldn't push him off. He couldn't slip him off, and I don't think he's quite Whyte is as athletic as a Cunningham, where to maybe slide to a certain way and slip and do this and not be able to be held. I do disagree with I believe his name is Mighty Max, for saying that he can't see no possible way of Whyte knocking out Tyson Fury. This is the heavyweight division. We've seen knockouts happen where we're like, how did this guy be that guy? Like Muhammad Ali was not the puncher in the George Foreman fight. He knocked out George Foreman. He was not the puncher in the Sonny Liston fight. He knocked out Sonny Liston. Mike Tyson was the puncher against Evander Holyfield, and he got knocked out by Holyfield. So when it comes to boxing, there's boxing, then there's heavyweight boxing. And yes, Wilder couldn't put out Fury, but anything can happen. But the way I see the fight going, again, I see him coming out with the power jab, mixing his punches up. Eventually, when Whyte tries to get on the inside, he leans on him, tires him out, and gets him out around the 8th or 9th round. Damn, was my take that bad?
All right. No, not at all. I was on mute again, unfortunately. Kenny T, knocked out by Kenny. Subscribe to his channel. Brother, talk to us. Did you get to watch the press conference to see Tyson Fury tickling a man? Right? Talking about sleeping with a man and all that good stuff. And who's going to win this fight, brother?
Yeah, man. The press conference.
Nothing wrong with him saying that, by the way. It's 2022, ladies and gentlemen. All right?
Not at all. Not at all. I thought the press conference was entertaining in a way. It wasn't the press conference that we're used to. Guys staring each other down, mean mugging, sometimes roughing each other up and all that. But it was entertaining in a way. Excuse me. It shows their more personable sides. It is entertaining in that way. We always see Dillian Whyte as the thug that's always talking smack and hard smack, and it's entertaining. And we also see Tyson Fury that way. This is the first time that we see them in a press conference where they're not completely shitting on the other guy. So, it was entertaining in the other way. Did it sell the fight to me? No, I don't think the fight needs to be sold. Everybody's going to be watching it anyway. They're not trying to sell to us. They're trying to sell to their crowd, and the stadium is sold. They making the big bread. They don't care about selling the fight any more than it is. Like Dillian Whyte hasn't showed up to a single press conference before this, so it is what it is. Regarding the fight, it's Tyson Fury's world. Tyson Fury can do whatever he wants. He can decide to end this in 9 and 10 once Dillian Whyte gasses out, or he could decide to just completely outbox him and just jab him out and straight punch him out the entire fight. And that's a very big possibility because he did look pretty slim coming in there. He looked in pretty good shape, and he was doing this thing that I never saw him do before. He was training for the left hook to be thrown at him, for him to take a step back and throw a punch right away. So it does seem like he is training to stay out of trouble. It doesn't seem like he's training to be on the inside. So it may just be a 12-round fight, but who knows? Who knows? The man has power in both hands, and he could knock a dude out from the outside. So we'll see. Maybe he does try to stop the fight in 9 to 10. Maybe he does go 12 rounds. But it is Tyson Fury's world for him to decide what he's going to do. My take, look, Tyson Fury better knock his ass out. AJ knocked him out. Tyson Fury better knock his ass out. AJ is one of the other top dogs in the heavyweight division. You want to look better than the other guy. But I don't know if he's going to do that because he keeps on talking about retirement. He says he's going to retire immediately after this fight. So it's mind-boggling. It's a situation. It's hard for me to really decide what I think he's going to do. But ultimately, he's going to win this fight. That's hands down.
All right. Now, I just want to play this clip really quick. An exchange I had with Troy on HCP, and then I'm going to say something about it really quick.
Planet. But what if that's the case? And what if he destroys Whyte and it goes on?
He is the best on the planet in his own mind and in his camp, but that's not the reality.
That's my point.
Of life.
You have every right to not believe he's the best right now. That's completely fine.
I
But if he
clearly
proves he is by beating Whyte would mean he's better than you think he is.
No, it just means that he's exactly what I thought he was. Just like if he lost, he's exactly what I thought he was. Listen to me. This will put him above.
So Troy Graham, and shout out to him. I mean, he's got
with Troy Graham's
I
argument.
love that guy. That guy
he's
is
picking
the funniest guy
Whyte
ever.
he's picking Whyte to beat Fury,
He hates Fury.
but he won't say, okay, I'll give him his credit if he beats Whyte. It's
At least
whatever.
he admits it. At least he admits it.
It's the logic. It's the logic of a hater. So
Yeah,
you
it
know,
is.
like-
Look, I think the tickling, and I'm surprised no one said this in the panel, like, it's a form of bullying. He went to tickle the man, and he did nothing about it. He just let himself get tickled.
TF, baby, TF.
Like, he just tickled. Like, what grown man just lets himself get tickled
was it
by
a
another grown ass man? And just like, and like, that's what he was seeing. Where's your energy at? 'Cause let me tell you something. You can say what you want about Usyk. Usyk's not gonna let himself get tickled, right? You can say what you want about like imagine a Holyfield letting himself get tickled by Tyson, or vice versa. Now there's gonna be some shoving going on. There's gonna be some shit like, yo, get the fuck off of me, motherfucker. What? Right? That's what's gonna happen. This dude, and he's like, let me see where you at. Where you at? Ooh, look at this. Like, you know, what's that dude where they punch his stomach? Like, he touches his stomach, goes, whoo, like
Pillsbury
that was-
Doughboy.
Pillsbury
like-
Doughboy.
Hey, Pillsbury Doughboy, here you go. Woo-hoo. Ah, Danny White, we're friends.
How much of that was like, you messing around with your friend? Because it sounds like they were friends. How much
I don't
of
know,
that was
brother. I don't know, because they're about to thump. They're about to fight in Wembley. They're about to have a prize fight. And to me, he's letting Fury dictate what it is. Like, Fury's telling him, we're friends, motherfucker. That's it. Like, you know what I mean? You're supposed to be coming, like, isn't it your dream? Isn't this everything you waited for your whole life to become heavyweight champion of the world? But you want to be friends, right? He's letting them dictate that. I don't think he misspoke with the "we slept together" comment. I just don't. I don't think he's saying they slept together. What I'm saying is he said it to fuck with him. He knew he was going to get a reaction out of him, right? He got his attention. The other Quiet was looking down at his phone or some shit. Like, he didn't give a fuck. And then he said that. I was like, whoa.
No,
right?
that's not what happened.
I'm just telling you, this is the dude that showed up with a Batman suit. Right, this is at a press conference. This is a dude that talked about the penis of AJ back in 2016. Okay, this dude. He's not a rational dude. Like, it is by design. Tyson Fury does not misspeak. Okay, this was by design. He wanted to fuck with his head. Okay, he tickled him because he's sensing his energy. Okay, this dude, he ain't bringing nothing back to me. All right. He's already got him up here. And the Gypsy King has you up here. That's how he had Vladimir Klitschko. That's how he had a lot of guys. You're done. Okay? Yeah, go ahead. I called him Fury. Joe.
You know, it's funny when you say that because Bernard Hopkins mentioned a similar story when he fought Trinidad. When they were up on the stage and they're doing the press tour, whatever. He walked up to Trinidad and he grabbed him by the love handle, by his hip, and he pinched him. And he said he did that because he wanted to see if Trinidad would give him a reaction, and he didn't. And he said right then and there, he said, "I knew I had him." Whether that means anything or not, I mean, obviously you still got to fight the guy. But that was a psychological move that Hopkins did to Trinidad. He went and grabbed him, pinched him on his oblique muscle, and he didn't do anything.
Well, it's reminds me a little bit, Joe, when you put it in those terms of like a manager or someone you may have at your workplace that constantly does like little jabs, not physically, but to just try to remind everybody because he's insecure that he's the boss, you know? I'm not saying Fury's insecure. I think Fury's a master at what he does. I did kind of see it as the way you did, D-Sol, in terms of, let me just, make it seem like this guy isn't the tough guy that everyone out here thinks that he is. I know this guy. look at me joking around with him. He's not, the killer. He's not the body snatcher. He's not like the dude with the rough background from Brixton in South London. He's just the guy that, used to bunk at my house, and look at us. We're great friends. Right. But in terms of the comment about how he used to sleep at his house or whatever, and whether he was misspoke or whatever, the one thing though,
I think he intentionally misspoke.
Regardless of what he did, whether he did
purposes, it was for entertainment purposes.
Regardless of whether he did or not, Whyte's camp didn't take it in a bad way. Like, they were all joking around about it. The whole room was like erupting in laughter. Immediately, Tyson Fury said, "Oh no, sorry, I didn't mean it that way." Like, he was kind of embarrassed, actually. If you rewatch the thing, I don't think it landed that way. Like, I don't think Dillian Whyte took it personally. The whole room was like laughing about it. So
I got you. Hey, by the way, let me we could continue this, but because I only got Mighty Max for an hour. So, Mighty Max, I want to ask you one question before we go. Crawford, Spence, who do you favor, and are we going to get it in 2022?
No. You see the shirt I'm wearing right now? It's Terence Crawford's brand. Coincidentally, I don't know what the odds of that were, but, I'm picking Terence Crawford to win that fight. I've been supporting Crawford throughout this whole debacle of him and Spence. I think it's a very good fight, best fight in boxing. I haven't been talking about it as much as I used to. The hypes came back for the fight since Spence looked better than we all expect against Ugas, but I used to talk about the fight a lot. It was, in my opinion, it's the best fight that can be made in the sport. And I am picking Crawford to win this fight, I think, by a competitive unanimous decision in a really entertaining fight, a really tough fight. There's a good chance Spence will be up throughout maybe the first 8-9 rounds, but I think Crawford might drop Spence late. He might dig deep late. He might push Spence late. And I think I'm going to edge out Crawford. Are we going to get in 2022? I don't think so. I think Crawford's going to fight Thurman. I think Spence is going to fight Stanionis. But 2023 seems like the year we might get it. But honestly, I'm not setting my hopes high or anything, because just knowing any boxing fans become really jaded of the sport throughout the years, because there's been so many fights we've gotten robbed of seeing, and there's definitely a chance we get robbed of seeing this one. But let's just hope both fighters win their next fight. Let's hope they fight each other next. But I expect them to fight in 2023, and I think it'll be an amazing fight, and the winner will be number one pound for pound on my list.
All right, brother. Hey, thanks so much for coming on, man. Tell everybody where they can find you before you go.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me on. You can find me at Mighty Max Boxing on Twitter and on YouTube. I appreciate everyone in the chat. Thank you, D-Style, and salute to everyone in the panel as well.
All right, man. Have a good one, brother.
My brother, have a good one.
Before we get back to
one thing, I just want to ask Myers for one thing.
Go ahead.
Who do you think had the top bunk, Fury or Whyte? I don't think he heard me. It's fine. It's fine. Move on. We can move on.
I was going to go back to it anyway, because I wanted to say a couple more things about it. I wanted Mighty Max's opinion about that, but
you got smoke coming out of his ears. Look at
but what I'm saying is, right, I get the whole, like, the fact that it was just like a chill mood and whatever. Like, I think that's what Fury wanted at the end of the day, right?
Well, did he want it because he was somewhat maybe damn, I want to keep this a chill kind of thing, or was it, strategy?
I mean, let's be honest. If I walked up to you and tried to tickle you, what would you do?
I was like, yo, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Probably jump.
Like, people are saying, "Oh, it was just to lighten the mood." Why are you lightening the mood? It's a face-off.
It's for entertainment purposes.
If you put it in that context, in a face-off, I'll push you.
But it wasn't. He didn't really tickle him. That's the other thing that, I think we're not actually describing. It's not like he went up to him, lifted up his arms, and
Well, no, but
he actually made him laugh.
Yeah, he went up to him and put his hand on him and was joking like he would tickle him, but he didn't actually tickle him. So
he gestured it. He gestured it, and he's
round table and to some kind of homoerotic reading of the.
No, it's not about being homoerotic.
I'm saying, guys,
that's not what we were going with it, bro.
I mean, that's quite a term there, but
Fury is like that kid that sits in the back of the class shooting spitballs at the blackboard. He just likes to clown around, man. He likes to be the class clown. Everything that was done was for entertainment purposes. He wanted to get a laugh and a reaction out of the people.
100%, and get us talking about it, which we have been.
Yeah. Again, getting back to what I was saying earlier, I just felt like as a fan, he didn't sell the fight more to me. And I'll disagree with Kenny, who he said the fight sold, it's already sold out and this and that. But yeah, it's a pay-per-view here in America. And I honestly, if I'm a casual fan and I see that, I'm like, do I really want to buy the pay-per-view now? Like, be honest. If you're a casual, we're all hardcores, we're all gonna buy the pay-per-view. I'm not talking about you guys on the panel. I'm talking about if you're a guy who just watches fights every now and then, buys every now and then a pay-per-view, you see that, is that going to make you want to buy it? Or is them getting in each other's face,
Joe,
mean and,
Joe, with no doubt, when there's animosity and there's beef, it does help the fight more. And a lot of people do agree with you. So I can't discount what you're saying right now. I think it's valid. It's very valid what you're saying. But I'm biased. I'm biased because I already bought the fight. The fight's already been hit. I already hit the buy button on the remote, Daddy. We're ready to go, Saturday.
Everybody here is going to buy the fight.
But I can't. It's my favorite.
Everybody here is going to buy the fight, obviously. We do this, YouTube thing. I'm talking about for the casual fans. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Nah, it's gonna be a tough sell for the U.S. people, man. It's going to be a tough sell for the U.S.
Yeah, for the U.S. people, yeah.
I definitely understand what you're saying. It's definitely a tough stuff for the U.S. people. If you're not a hardcore boxing fan, you probably don't even know who Tyson Fury is, nor Dillian Whyte. So I definitely get the selling factor to the U.S. people. My thought is just that, do they even really care? I mean, I guess, Warren did put a hell of a lot of money down, so he definitely cares.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
But for every single pay-per-view that comes in, Warren is thirsty. But, they sold out the stadium. They put in extra seats to some historical shit, everybody out there is going to be watching, and a lot of people out here are going to be watching too. Watch them talk about record-breaking numbers. It's that heavyweight. That's the only thing that really helps it for the U.S. I do get your point wholeheartedly, though. I'm not really fully disagreeing with you.
The panel something, though, being that we all are here in the U.S., where this is a $65 fight and not a $24.99 pound fight, which works out to about $30. Was the price point set properly for a fight in the afternoon? I remember when the Klitschko fights were on regular HBO because they didn't want to justify putting them on pay-per-view because of the time difference and everything else.
They should have just put it on ESPN.
That's an excellent point, Maestro.
They should have just put this on DSP. $65 for
the purse bid
afternoon fight? Like what?
The thing
I'm buying it, Maestro. I don't care, Maestro. I'm buying it.
Obviously we are. Obviously we are.
Walking up and down the street, I'm telling everyone else to buy it too.
And I do think if you're gonna give me $65, if you're gonna charge me $65, give me a fucking undercard, man. You can't put Anthony Yard. You can't give me one of these, decent UK prospects. Look at the undercard and try not to throw up because it's that bad.
Terrible.
It might be worse than the undercard last weekend.
Tommy Fury on the undercard, baby.
Yeah, on the
undercard.
You got a venue. You're gonna have the audience, right? The energy's gonna be there. I mean, you would think you would have at least some up and coming, UK fighters there. There's plenty of female UK fighters that would have fought on that undercard, right? There's just so much they could have done and they didn't do it. There's just boxing always fucks up when it comes to big events like this all the time. Whenever Floyd fought, Pacquiao fought, their undercards are trash, right? And I get it. I already know the response. Oh, well, why would they put on that fight's already going to sell? So they could put those good fights on other dates. Okay, I get it, but it's not helping the sport. People if Fury goes in there and fucks him up in 4 rounds and people are going to be like, that's it? That's what I paid for? I mean, this is crazy. So I want to ask the panel. I'll go around really quick. Give me a ballpark number of what it's going to sell in the U.S., Maestro. How much?
Oh, man. I mean, this is my issue. It's we got 2 guys that aren't from the U.S. They're fighting outside the U.S.
Fury owns a home here, right?
5 p.m. probably. I was actually on ESPN's website trying to figure out what the hell they're showing on TV at that time and whether or not it would be bigger than this. I don't think that they are going to be showing anything anyways big. But what do I think? I mean, I think it's going to sell better than Crawford and Porter, to be honest with you. Just because at this point, I think that Tyson Fury's a bigger star. And he's been given the top rank ESPN push, and he had the Wilder trilogy. So I'm gonna land it. I'm gonna say between 150 to 250,000, somewhere in that range here in the United States.
Fair enough. Okay, Kenny T, give me a ballpark number, brother.
Unfortunately, I got none for you because I don't really be looking deep into these numbers. I just don't think it's afternoon fight, man. Like it's a difficult sell. $60 at that with a trash undercard.
100K, Kenny.
I look, I'll go with Joe's number, 100K. There we go. Because I don't got no number for you. I just don't think it's really gonna sell like that.
Fair enough. George.
Yeah.
Ballpark number.
It's a tough number to try to pull out of the air, but I would say Tyson Fury's last 2 performances against Wilder, maybe would help his case somehow. And there's a lot of UK fans in the US too. And I'm not saying they're half the population, but shit, man, I'm gonna say maybe like 185.
185. Okay, Joe, ballpark number.
300,000.
Okay. Broadway Joe.
Bro, listen, if it does 300,000.
Hold on. Broadway Joe, go ahead.
If it does 300,000, we might see Bob Arum literally do a backflip. At 90 years old, we might just see him do a backflip. If it does 300,000.
Yeah, cool.
Listen, I'm not as high as on it as you guys are. I have it like somewhere around 85,000, like around there. I don't think it does well in good numbers. It hasn't. I haven't even seen it be promoted that much on ESPN like that.
ESPN sucks.
Yeah, so it's like if they're not, if the network that's going to be streaming it is not promoting it. And again, when I judge pay-per-view numbers, I never judge it by the buzz amongst the hardcores. I judge it about when I talk to my casual fans. I haven't had one casual fan come up to me asking me questions because I'm pretty sure amongst everybody here, amongst our friends, we're the boxing guy. We're the guy they come up to and they ask, "Hey, what do you think of this guy? Or this, that?" Nobody has asked me about this fight, so I'm going 85,000.
Two things about that I want to say real quick. One, boxing is already like tertiary because you got the major sports, and then they even value MMA before they value boxing on ESPN. So they don't even promote UFC fights that are taking place on Saturday. So I don't really know how much that means in terms of how well this will sell on ESPN. What I will say, though, is because this is also on ESPN Plus, how will that affect things? Because, I mean, Crawford complained about being behind the paywall on the app. We've all experienced the difficulty of navigating through the app. Will people be bothered to, click through 5 screens and try to order it? And, it's not that convenient. But I think that there's a baseline floor in the United States of America of people that regularly buy boxing pay-per-views. And personally, I think that number is in the 6 figures. So I do think that it will sell at least that. Just again because of how pay-per-views, and I'm not talking about Martin Ortiz or even Tank Davis against Cruz. I'm talking about bigger fights, but
for sure
a lot of intangibles.
So let me throw my if I can really quick, and I'll let you go, Joe. But I'm gonna say 290,000. Let's throw that number out there. It's my number. But go ahead, Joe.
What was the number you said? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Around 290,000, just short of 300,000.
What Bob Arum said.
And the reason I'm saying that is because he got a lot of publicity. He's been on ESPN. The Wilder fights got him a lot of publicity. A lot of celebrities watch his fights. A lot of celebrities will probably be tweeting about his fights. More likely, you have the Undertaker, like for God's sakes, tweeting about when you knock him down, tell him rest in peace and all this other stuff. Like so, I think that's going to help. Go with Joe.
What Bob Arum said was it's not only going to be able to be purchased on ESPN Plus, it's going to be on terrestrial cable too. So you can buy it off the cable box too, he said. He's not just going to do it. So that's going to help. So you're going to have some digital buys, you're going to have some terrestrial buys. So that's going to help.
All right. And let's say, Broadway, did you want to say something?
No.
Oh, I got you. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're gonna start with Kenny, all right?
Killer Kenny.
KO Kenny.
Spence versus Crawford.
Killer Kenny.
Big fight. First of all, are you feeling the fight? Does it feel big to you again? Are we going to get this fight in 2020? And who do you favor in this fight? After Kenny, we'll go to Broadway Joe. I'll be back in a little bit, guys. But go ahead, Kenny.
The hype for the fight never left for me. That's why in WrestleMania, it was my number one fight. You remember when we did WrestleMania? It was my number one fight because the hype never left for me. That still is the biggest fight in boxing for me. Terence Crawford versus Spence is the biggest, like what's his name? Mighty Max says, the biggest fight, in my opinion, that can be made in boxing. It's huge. Different styles. Both can punch. Both are coming at it full force. Errol Spence impressed us so much in his last performance that I think the entire world is on the same train again, wanting to see this fight and thinking that it's going to happen. Not how I felt maybe 3 months ago where I said that I thought this fight was never going to happen because Spence just seemed off. He was saying he just wanted to stay active. Just wanting to stay active to me sounds like you just want to fight bums. But apparently that's not the case because he went in there and he put in work against Ugas. And he looks more focused and more serious than he ever has in his career. So, I can't wait to see that fight. Will it happen in 2022? I hope so. I think so. They're both starting to promote. I've seen media from both of them on their pages, like pretty much calling out each other and going at each other. So I don't see why not. It would be another huge letdown for everybody if they went alternate ways, like Mighty Max was saying, and one for Stanionis, Spence for Stanionis, and Bud for what's his name? One time. I would hate to see that. His one time is done already. You know what I'm saying? And regarding Stanionis, that's a man that should be feared and should be people should stay away from him right now. I don't think that's and I don't mean that people should stay away from him right now. People should duck him right now. I'm saying, like, thinking if I was Spence or on Spence's bandit team or Spence's corner, I would not want to fight Stanionis. What does Stanionis have to offer Spence? Why take any risk of that sort? So for me, that fight needs to happen next. Is the only fight that can happen. And after that, people need to start talking about moving up in weight and chasing the next big fish. And Terence Crawford has a chance to become undisputed in 2 weight classes because Jermell Charlo says he wants to fight him next too, or something like that. So, hey, I love the hype and the train that we on right now, and I would love to see it at the end of this year. Who I got winning? That's like a 50-50, bro. I gotta watch some more tape before.
Pull the trigger.
If you ask me this,
don't cop out.
Go 1, 2, 3.
If you asked me this 1 month ago, hands down, I'd tell you Bud Crawford. But right now with that performance, I still kind of got to pick Bud Crawford. But still, that performance was crazy. The way he came on, the way it was like timed aggression. It wasn't like just letting it all out. It wasn't emptying the tank like Atunde told this dude. I forgot. Well, I'm so terrible with names. But yeah, it was controlled aggression. He did it properly. And if he comes with that same controlled aggression and the same power, it's going to be difficult for Crawford. But at the same time, Crawford got this style, this amazing counter punching style. And once he gets hurt, he comes forward and wants to destroy the next man and starts throwing more punches, but not stupid punches, more punches in a smarter way, at least as he's gotten later in his career. Because early on, once he got tagged, he went a little stupid and just started letting the guns go. So, it's a tough decision. But because of my previous judgment, I'm gonna go with Crawford. But look, I can't right now. I gotta say it's like 50-50 for me. But I'm gonna go with Crawford because that was my previous choice.
All right. Broadway Joe. Are we going to get this fight in 2022? And what do you got? What are you favoring? That is.
Yes, I do think we're going to get this fight. Never have we seen them going back and forth, talking like as if they want to fight. Never have I seen immediately after a fight Errol Spence say that that's the next fight he wants. It's also the remaining belt, so it'll be for Undisputed. And also Terence Crawford is no longer with ESPN and Top Ranks, and that was one of the barriers. And so that I do think that fight happens this year. I think it happens sometime in October, November. And as far as who I favor, so the timeline of who I favored has been. I've always thought Spence would beat Crawford, always. But then he got into the car accident, and I was like, oh, I don't know. And then I saw him in that press conference against Pacquiao. I know the fight never happened, but in that press conference, he looked so weight drained. And I'm like, so not only did he have a car accident, yeah, he looked good against Danny, but no disrespect against Danny, but at 147, he wasn't who he was at 140. So I was like, not only did this guy was in a car accident, he also had weight drain, had eye surgery. So I actually picked Ugas to beat Spence, and then Spence goes out and puts in this kind of performance. Listen, I'm not making a pick just yet. As of right now, I'm going to favor Spence again because that's who I always thought would win. I do think Bud gets hit a lot. Sometimes unnecessarily, I feel. Sometimes I feel like he could box a little bit more. He could not get hit, but he chooses to go in and brawl. And against a naturally bigger guy, that may cause problems. But listen, I'm going to watch more tape. I could change my mind once the fight gets signed and once we're getting closer to the fight. I could change my mind because this is the classic 50-50 fight. This is two undefeated American welterweights, and it'll be for Undisputed. It should be a 50-50 fight. It should be a tough decision. And as of right now, I'm leaning Spence, but I could change my mind in a month or two.
Whoa.
Facts.
All right. By the way, really quick, a shout out to our audio audience, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeart, especially Spotify. Numbers been really good there, so I appreciate the Spotify audience. I'm definitely not one of the ones that was going to boycott Spotify because they saw Joe Rogan on there. You know, they're showing me love. You know what I mean? So it's all good. But
please,
Maestro, talk to us, brother. Are we going to get this fight? Take out your Maestro crystal ball. Are we going to get this fight? Are you optimistic we get this fight in 2022? And who are you favoring in this, what I believe is an epic matchup?
please.
Well, I actually think it's a 50-50 chance that we get it in 2022. And I think it's a 50-50 fight. I hope we get it in 2022 because I think it's white hot right now. I mean, now's the time to do it. You know, Errol Spence just knocked out your Dennis Ugas, showed that he's recuperated, if not fully, as close to as possible as fully as one could have ever hoped for from the car crash. And, you know, we all saw what Terence Crawford did to Sean Porter. So let's line these two guys up, big pay-per-view. There shouldn't be any obstacles because I think it was Georgie said this, but, you know, Terence Crawford isn't aligned to Top Rank anymore. In fact, he's put out a lawsuit against Top Rank, which, you know, people haven't talked about for a while. But as far as I know, that's still in full effect. So, you know, he's not tied to a rival promoter. Now is the time to do it. In terms of who wins the fight, I mean, just like I said, there's a lot of intangibles in terms of figuring out how many pay-per-view buys this weekend's fight does. There's a lot of intangibles with this one too, because Errol Spence Jr. has clearly fought the better competition as a welterweight. Terence Crawford has definitely fought the inferior competition as a welterweight, but has looked more spectacular in his wins, at least up until this past weekend, than Errol Spence Jr. has looked in his wins. I mean, when you're looking at a guy that's like knocking out Kell Brook, albeit, you know, a faded version of Kell Brook, and, you know, knocking out, you know, in comeback performances like against the Mean Machine, which a lot of people felt he was knocked down in. And then you juxtapose that with Errol Spence Jr. going the distance against Mikey Garcia, and then coming back from the car crash and going the distance against Mikey Garcia. Now I got it wrong. Danny Garcia. I'm joining the club, Kenny, with the names. You know, it wasn't very, very inspiring. I'm like, when you saw Errol Spence Jr. go 12 rounds against Mikey Garcia, right? We all saw that happen, and we all heard the collective groans about a potential Terence Crawford fight. People like, oh, this is like spoiled milk. It's way past its due date. Nobody wants to see this anymore like we used to. Now those sentiments have all gone. We're not thinking about the 12 rounds against Mikey Garcia, or the 12 rounds against Danny Garcia, or the 12 rounds against Sean Porter. We're thinking about what he just did to Yordenis Ugas. And now's the time to do the fight. So that's my opinion on it. But I think it's a 50-50 fight.
I think this is a great fight for sure. Joe Habib, talk to us, brother. How do you personally see this? Are we going to get this fight? Are you optimistic? And who do you favor?
November 27th, this fight will happen. Actually, 26th, excuse me.
Man.
Thanksgiving weekend, this fight's going to happen.
Come on. Is that a guarantee?
Are you excited for it?
I mean, if you're saying it's going to happen, I'm excited for sure, but I don't know.
Inside track. I got the inside track. You want to get credentialed? I'll get you in.
Breaking news.
You want credentials?
Sources.
Beeb Industries.
I'll take it.
Beeb Industries.
No doubt.
Here's the thing. I was very impressed with Errol Spence against Ugas. I picked Ugas to win as well. Thought Ugas got off to a good start. I thought Ugas hurt Spence in that 6th round. And I actually thought that Spence was in real trouble. And I was just sitting there saying to myself, well, what would have happened if that was Crawford in there in that 6th round, right? Because I could see Crawford lulling Spence into a false sense of security, letting Spence come forward a little bit, taking that half step back, stepping off to the side, hitting him with that shot, making him do that little dance.
Oof.
And then when he wobbles back into the ropes, Crawford ain't going to sit there and wait. Crawford's going to be tomahawking that dude, right? The big advantage Crawford has over Spence is speed. I think he's much faster than Spence with hands and feet. I think he's much more versatile. I think he's a much better counterpuncher. I think he's just as strong, right? Anything Spence can do, Crawford could do, but Spence can't do everything that Crawford can do. That's the problem. You got a guy who's got more ways to win. He's got more tools in the toolbox, more weapons, bigger arsenal. It's hard to go against that guy. So I think Crawford could possibly get a stoppage in this fight, maybe in around 9 or 10 rounds. I think Crawford's going to win this fight big, actually. I don't think it's going to be as competitive as people think.
Man.
Styles make fights. Styles make fights.
Wow.
Damn.
Sounds like your Ugas Spence prediction.
Oh boy. But before we
I'm just saying.
George.
Like your Murata Golovkin prediction.
Oh, but George.
You had the same prediction, fam.
Doesn't
George, off the ropes. Talk to us. Is the fight going to happen in 2022, in your opinion?
Mm-hmm.
You got the crystal ball out, and who do you favor in this fight, man? It's going to be a historic fight here.
I mean, I think there's still plenty of time in 2022. So even if, no, I take that back. Never mind. Oh man, I would love for it to happen at the end of 2022, but I know Stayonis was promised the winner of Ugas and Crawford. The reason why he stepped aside, and I think they're gonna, hold their promise to Stayonis to be able to get the win, to be able to get Spence. So I maybe next spring, maybe I would say next spring, and we are going to see Crawford and Thurman. Is it the fight we want? No, but it's still a pretty decent fight with two names that people know of. But I'd rather have the Spence and Crawford happen actually first. And as far as picking a winner, shit, dude, I text this to Chicano a couple of days ago. We were going back and forth, but not in arguments, but we're just kind of going back and forth on what we thought on the fight and what we think. And I told him before this performance for Spence, I had Crawford the favorite, 55-45. Now after this performance, I still have Crawford. Now it's 53-47. That's the way I'm going to split it. But I mean, I think Spence, I feel like he has like that toughness and grit, that not that Spence doesn't have it, but I don't know. There's just something about about Crawford that you see that he knows how to tap into that second gear or that second, just when he gets hit. And yeah, I do agree. He does get hit a little too much for my liking. But I think that only happens when he knows he can't get hurt by the other fighter. I think it's like a false sense of hope. I don't think he'll try to do that too much with Spence.
Whoa, I don't know what happened. It looks like off the ropes got cut off there in the middle of his speech, but
why are you cutting him off, man? What'd you do?
No, I didn't cut him off.
He didn't like what he was saying. What happened here? What's going on?
Whoa! No. Yeah, I don't know what happened. He'll bounce back a little bit.
We can't pick Crawford on this panel?
No.
We can't pick Crawford?
No, his internet went out or something. I don't know.
This is a Spence channel?
No, there he is. No. He could vouch for me, right? He could vouch for me. It wasn't me.
What are you doing here?
I didn't do that.
Off the ropes. Go and finish your point, brother.
Oh shit! Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. No, I
kicked you off.
Oh man, that's messed up, bro. I'm sorry.
He kicked you off, man. He kicked you off, man. Peace out, man.
No, yeah, I favor Crawford. I've always favored him. I've always liked him. He's always been one of my favorite fighters. And I know a couple months back with the whole with the lawsuit with Crawford and Bob Arum, I know Maestro and Beeb had great points, and it made me even stand behind Crawford even more. Just like everything that they said about him. Another one I don't think people really maybe they look over is he's knocked out his last 9 fighters championship wise, with a belt. So I think that says a lot. I think if he was to hurt Spence, I think he has what it takes to finish him, man.
All right. Let me talk to you guys. Let me tell you dudes what I think. First of all, call me a pessimist. Call me whatever you want. Okay, a jaded boxing fan. I hope I'm wrong. Like, if the fight gets made in 2022, you could call me. You could be like, see, I told you it was going to happen, and I'm going to be happy. Unfortunately, this is the sport of boxing. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't think Crawford's going to take 40% or less. Okay. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have issues at the negotiation table. I hope I'm wrong, but we're going to get, I hope you guys are ready. I hope you're ready for Spence versus Stanionis. All right.
Ooh.
And I hope you're ready for Bud Crawford versus the one and the only one time Kieth Thurman, because those are the fights y'all going to get. Okay,
are you really gonna jinx this fight? You gonna
put the
D-style curse on this fight? Are you really gonna do that?
I can't jinx something when boxing does it to itself. Boxing does this
fight
to
doesn't
itself.
happen. It's your fault because you're jinxing it.
No. Like I'm just saying, boxing never gives us what we want when we want it. The boxing gods have well, let me say this. The boxing gods have given this fight a second life. This fight has survived a deadly car crash by Errol Spence, right? This fight has survived them fighting multiple times, okay, and it not going away, right? This fight has survived it all. Errol Spence has come back and looked better than ever against Ugas. Now is a time to strike. It's been given a second opportunity. A second opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, but in boxing classic fashion, it isn't going to happen. I just got to keep it real. I hope I'm wrong, but it's not going to happen in 2022. All right?
Is it going to be like Roy Jones finally facing off against Bernard Hopkins in the rematch?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe not that bad. Maybe not that bad.
Is it
it's gonna be like when Calazaghe finally fought Roy Jones.
Cut it out.
Right?
What do you mean he finally fought it? You're making
like when they finally fought.
Correcting it. Just
when the fight finally happened, right? It just wasn't when the fight should have happened.
So kind of like Tito. So kind of like Tito against Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah, Tito versus Roy Jones too. Right. Although that one was never really a 50-50 fight in all seriousness. No. But this is a fight that should happen. It should happen right now. Common sense says it should happen. Common sense say that Spence shouldn't be that strict with his, split like maybe the lion's share, but like 55%. I don't know about 50, 60%.
70-30 Spence. Based on the box office. And
I don't know about that.
Yeah, Crawford would never go for that. Crawford would never go for that.
That's messed up.
No, listen to what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
No,
I want to hear this.
it's like Obama when he was coming out with that stupid Obamacare plan. Well, that's probably what he wanted in the beginning. But let's say you actually wanted to provide universal health care. You don't start the negotiation with a mandate. No, that's literally what the Republican wanted at the beginning. You start at the very extreme end. If you're Errol Spence Jr., you start a negotiation. I'm starting at 70-30, and I'll tell you why. He had 40,000 people in the stadium last weekend. Errol, that's like 3 times at least anything at best that Terence Crawford has done. No disrespect to Terence Crawford. He's going into the fight with 3 out of the 4 belts. That's actually 75% of the belts. So start at 70-30, land at 60-40, at worst at 55-45. But if you're him, don't start your negotiation at 55-45. I wouldn't even start it at 60-40. Because if you just look at the financial side of what they're making and what they're bringing to the fight in terms of paid audience, in terms of belts, it's way in the favor of Errol Spence Jr. So,
I mean, it's
it just is. And look, Usyk took less than 20% to fight Joshua and beat him.
That's his fault.
Yeah, but Joshua
believed in himself. He believed in himself, and he was an undisputed fight. He was a former undisputed champ, okay, that was undefeated, that was going into the other guy's hometown, right? But he knew that he was going to get his bread in the rematch because he believed in his abilities. So
okay. You guys could just go one at a time. You know what I mean? But
my bad.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead, Joe.
No. Well, Crawford was also a former undisputed, and also he's also a ticket seller. He sold out Las Vegas, he sold out Madison Square Garden, and he sold out his hometown. So he himself is a ticket seller.
Madison Square Garden. I was at his fight. He did not sell it. The upper bowl was completely draped off. It was a lower bowl fight. It was not 20,000 at Madison Square Garden like Cotto or like Trinidad.
How many were there, Maestro? How many were there?
I don't know, like 9,000 maybe. I mean, Kenny was there with me. The whole upper deck
so
was.
Technically speaking, if they only sell if they sold what they had available, it is a sellout. Technically.
I see Maestro's point. I stand corrected because I did mean that, but I guess the way it looked on TV, it looked like a sellout, and I think I might have heard that. I might have heard it reported the same way you saying.
He sold out Omaha. There's no doubt that he sold out Omaha.
And he sold out Vegas. And he sold out Vegas.
Shout out to Petty Manning. Go ahead.
But not the MGM Grand or the T-Mobile Center. It was smaller venues in Vegas.
No, the last fight was Sean Porter. He sold 15,000 tickets, and that's all that was available.
Okay, I wasn't thinking. You're right. I wasn't thinking about that last fight. But that's still not 40,000 at AT&T Stadium. It just isn't. And his pay-per-view numbers against Sean Porter were terrible. Everybody knows that.
It was a new way of buying pay-per-view with this whole ESPN direct-to-consumer way of selling the fight, as well as
now he was on the app years ago and was complaining about it.
No. The way they started selling the pay-per-views now with the ESPN Plus app, that was the first time they did that in boxing.
Okay.
With the Terence Crawford Porter. So which is why the numbers were so low. And also on top of that, if you look at the level of competition, nobody's going to buy a mismatch. Like Amir Khan versus Terence Crawford being on pay-per-view was ridiculous. So when it flopped, it was like, did anybody here even think that Amir Khan had 1% of beating Terence Crawford?
I thought that the fight between Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence Jr. shouldn't have happened, and that it was a mismatch, and it turned out to be just that. So that was on pay-per-view too, and that still did better numbers than Terence Crawford against Sean Porter, which is like 2 guys with like big names. I'm not trying to diminish Terence Crawford, but he's obviously not a pay-per-view attraction. I don't think anyone here would argue that. And at the end of the day, Errol Spence did put 40,000 people into the AT&T Stadium. I mean, the only person that did that in boxing more than him was Canelo, who's in a different stratosphere than everybody. I'm just saying that if you're starting a negotiation and you have 3 of the 4 belts and you have been more successful as a ticket seller and as a pay-per-view commodity then it would just be bad business to start at anything less than 70-30 and work your way towards what the actual thing will land on. Just
Crawford will take the
No, real quick, because it's relevant to the discussion. So let me just add this really quick, and then you guys can cook. But Lance Spugmeyer just tweeted out, and I want to thank Chicano for this. Told by industry officials that the Errol Spence US pay-per-view number is looking like it's going to settle in a 240,000-ish range. Given the Easter holiday and busy sports calendar, it's a solid number. In his opinion. So here's what I want to say. Let me just add this. Let me just cook on this a little bit. Just a little bit. You know what I mean? Yes, Spence sells more, but it's not like Spence isn't a big star. You know what I mean? It's not like Spence is doing like big numbers. Spence is closer to 0 than 1 million when he sells, right? So how much further is he from Crawford, right? And here's my point. In Crawford's mind, this is a 50-50 fight. He wants 50-50. Whether we agree or disagree, it's how he feels. Like to Crawford, it's about his value and what he brings as a prize fighter and his accomplishments and what him means to the resume of Errol Spence and vice versa, right? It's a historic fight because of both of them, and that's the way he kind of thinks about it, right? And all I got to say is this. I think like 45-55 would be fair. That's just my opinion. Like, yes, Spence should get the lion's share, but I don't know he should get the lion's share that much, right? And I also think whatever they agree on, whatever it is, they should just keep it away from the public and just keep it private. I don't think fans it shouldn't matter like that, right? That's my opinion. Whatever it is they agree on, because that's going to help their ego. Part of it is, the public knows he got more than me, and for whatever reason, fighters really care about that now. Yeah. And one more point, it reminds you of when Martinez was sitting across from Cotto, right, before the fight, and he kept saying, "Oh, he thinks he's the A side, and I'm the champion." And he couldn't comprehend why Cotto was the A side. It had nothing to do with your status as a champion. It had everything to do with what you generate, the budget you put in seats, the eyeballs that watch you on TV. That's what generates money. That's what dictates you being the quote-unquote A side, not what you've accomplished. But Crawford doesn't think of it that way. To him, I'm a former undisputed champion. I'm a multi-division champion. I'm one of the title holders here. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
This is exactly why it took the rematch between Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins so long to take place. Because of everything that you just outlined there, D-Style.
That's 100% true.
I mean, he literally made a diss song and put it up there, Roy Jones, because y'all must have forgot he used to rap. He literally had a song called 60-40. It was a diss song against Bernard Hopkins. So look, I hope it doesn't get into the way of it, but I think 60-40, if they land on 60-40, that would be acceptable. I don't think either side would literally be happy with it. So that's kind of the hallmark of a good negotiated outcome.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think the split is so much the problem than it is the guarantee purse that Crawford would want. So how pay-per-views work is, let's say they guarantee you $10 million. I'm making up a number. And then they're guaranteeing you that number because they're anticipating a certain amount of pay-per-views. So if I'm guaranteeing you $10 million and I know the pay-per-view is going to do 1 million buys, that's nothing to me. But Crawford has been, to be fair, as to what he's been bringing to the table, has been getting a little bit overpaid by Top Rank. So he expects that money to be consistent. And now that he's fighting for Undisputed and against Errol Spence, he's expecting that guarantee to go up. I don't think he has too much of a problem doing the 60-40, the 55-45, or whatever numbers we can configure to think what's fair. I think it's what he wants guaranteed that'll be the hindrance, if there will be one.
Right. No, well said. Well said. Before we proceed to the next time, does anybody have anything else to add here? Because I'm telling you guys right now, we ain't going to get the fight this year.
I think we get it.
We're going to get it.
I hope we get it, but if I had to bet one way or the other, I'd probably bet on it not happening.
We're going to get a tweet. Sources, the fight's official for Coppinger, and then it's not going to be official. And then, like, we're going to be waiting, and then we're going to get Spence versus, like, Thurman or some shit.
This whole Staniotis thing, though, I thought that the regular title list only got a shot at the super title after he's defended 3 straight times. Like, he just won the title. So that's not 3 defenses to get a shot.
Make it up as they go, brother. You know what I mean? Let's make it up as they go. Like,
anyways, I doubt they put that in writing. Anyways, that shouldn't come in as a barrier to Spence against.
Somebody needs to tell the kids Sauna ain't real, right? We're not gonna get the fight this year. Like, I don't want to be that dude, but we're not gonna get it. I'm telling you guys, we're not gonna get it. Like, Spence said, yeah, I want to fight him, but we got to make sure the numbers are good. Okay, that's already like a non-starter in my opinion. Why are you talking like that? Obviously, you're gonna negotiate the fight at the negotiation table, but you don't start off by saying that. Like, it's my opinion. Like, Crawford's not going to be satisfied. He's used to a certain guaranteed money that he was getting in Top Rank, right? It's got to be significantly higher than that to fight Spence. So we will definitely see.
Significantly higher, like $1 million more?
At least double.
Double than what he got Sean Porter?
Double than what he made fighting Mean Machine, yes.
$12 million?
Double.
He made $6 million to fight Sean Porter, so that's $12 million, dude.
Double. I'm telling you right now. You think he's gonna want to fight Spencer? It's like $8 million.
If that's what you think, then that's exactly why this fight's not why you think.
No. Like, think about it. Think about it. Just think about it, guys. If they offer him $8 million to fight Spence, right? But he can make $6 million fighting like dudes like Mean Machine. Why would he fight Spence?
Yeah, but
he can keep fighting dudes like that.
Who's gonna give him $6 million to fight a guy like Mean Machine now that he's not on Top Rank?
Thank you. That's exactly.
He could always resign with Top Rank.
Nah,
he's suing them. You think they're gonna sign him back?
Yeah, yes. Like, Bob don't care, but Bob's like, let's slide, bro.
D-Star, even if he does re-sign with Top Rank, Bob Arum, I don't know if it was he was smoking or if he had just taken some gummies, but on the stage, he literally said, this dude just cost me a house in Beverly Hills. Like, we're not going to be paying these purses anymore.
Yo, this dude ain't going to fight for less. All right? That's my opinion.
The quiet part out loud. Like, there's no more money like that.
And right now, Beeb's mad at me because I said we're not going to get this fight.
This Beeb band? Is that why he's laying back?
I'm getting tired of you jinxing these fights. That's all I'm saying.
He's like, just stop talking.
You put these freaking hexes on these fights, and then when they don't happen, it's your fault.
I don't know, man. I just think, like, anyone who thinks he's going to fight for the same amount of money against Spence than he fought against Mean Machine is out of your mind. You're out of your mind. You know what I mean? He ain't going to do it. He's going to want more money. And it's going to be part of the reason why this fight's not going to happen.
They're getting $10 million apiece. Don't worry about it, Daddy.
I think he'll take 8 to 10 somewhere.
They're getting 10 apiece. They're going to get 10 apiece.
You want to be the undisputed champion of the world. Like, you have to make some sacrifices, especially when the other guy is bringing 3 belts to the equation. Who did he win his title from?
Jeff Horn, man. That
here's
from Australia.
You beat Jeff Horn.
Well, look, Manny Pacquiao.
For a title, by the way, that no one even rated when I was growing up in the 1990s. No one gave a fuck about Lennox Lewis having to fight Herbie Hyde. The WB.
I hear you, but let me just say this before we go, because we got to move on to the next topic. But all I want to say is this, right?
Yeah.
If PBC offers them something like, look, we're going to give you the Spence fight, and then we'll offer you like the winner of like Castano versus Jermell.
Yeah, he better sign.
Now we're talking because Crawford will have the opportunity to be undisputed in 3 weight classes, right? And but if I'm Crawford, I'm like, look, if I beat Spence, you got to pay me a certain amount of money, right?
My management likes that deal.
Crawford's going to be 35 soon, man. The clock is running out on him, man. He's going to take the fight. Stop, please.
All right, we'll see.
35 years, for Christ's sake. You got the clock is running out.
Steven, I know the WBO title matters now, Steven. I know that.
He's younger than Hopkins
All
was
that
before he fought
Maestro man
Trinidad.
is he has this nostalgic streak about him.
right.
He goes back to the old days too much. He goes back to the old days too much.
All righty.
Context. That's all. Herbie Hyde, the WBO heavyweight.
Herbie Hyde. That's 20 years
so
ago.
I want to talk about like something very, very serious. By the way, this is something very serious that occurred. You know, the British Boxing Board of Commissions really got on this one like really, really hard. You know what I mean? Like they got on this like really, really hard. You know what I mean? So and I want to know your guys' kind of opinion on this. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and start with Maestro. Maestro. So it hasn't officially happened, right? But Casimero is not going to be fighting this weekend. He was supposed to be fighting. That fight is now going to have like an interim belt on the line. It may be for the actual belt if they end up stripping Casimero, but Casimero may be stripped because he was using a sauna.
I mean, this is insanity.
It is against the rules. Just want to put that out there.
Well, I mean, it's the rules in Britain, and how are those rules communicated? Is it like when you sign up for a new app that you get from the Google Play Store and you like skim to the bottom of the terms and conditions and just click accept? Like, how was he informed that you're not allowed to use a sauna? Because guess what? Here in the United States of America, people use a sauna in combat sports to cut weight. They do it when they're high school wrestlers. They do it when they're college wrestlers. They do it when they're boxers. In fact, during the pandemic, you guys will remember this. Fighters were complaining that a lot of the hotels inside the bubble didn't have sauna facilities, and therefore they couldn't sweat out like the last few pounds like they were used to doing. There was a couple fighters who actually said that, and trainers. So the fact that they've come down so harshly on a world champion, somebody's got to scrutinize this, because now if what they're doing is they're essentially handing Paul Butler a belt, this is home cooking. This is the British Boxing Board of Control essentially being involved in the stripping of a Filipino fighter and the handing of that person's title to their hometown guy. I mean, I don't understand how else you could really look at this. Now, the only way this is even excused is if there is clear evidence that they informed Casimero's management and training team, guys, you're not allowed to use a sauna.
Man. Okay. All right.
In the absence of that, they're colluding to rob this dude of his title.
So I want to ask Kenny, Kenny, you know a little bit of strength and conditioning and all that stuff. Like, should it be illegal to use a sauna, right? And do you think that the British Board Commission has a point, or do you think they're off base here? How do you feel about it?
I think they're completely off base. Using a sauna is something that athletes in all sports use. Actually, it's like using a cold bath. You're gonna tell me that hopping in a cold bath after a very serious workout, that's illegal too, and that he shouldn't be able to fight because he hopped in a cold bath? It all sounds foolish to me. It's not a performance enhancement drug. He's not gonna punch harder by going in the sauna. He's not gonna be stronger by going in the sauna. He's cutting weight by going in the sauna. Sitting in the sauna and heating yourself up so that you burn fat and sweat it out. Like, how is that a cheat or something that's going to give him an advantage in the fight? It all sounds foolish and stupid to me. This is a joke. This is the things that damage the sport of boxing. This is the type of things that we're all tired of happening. Like, this is a joke. This is a joke. That's my complete thought. This is a joke by the BBBofC.
Damn. Joe, Broadway Joe, talk to us, brother. Well, how do you feel about this? He might be getting stripped. He ain't going to fight Paul Butler this weekend. Paul Butler's saying, I don't feel sorry for him. He broke the rules, right? So, how do you feel about it?
Well, I feel the same way somewhat of what Maestro said. Like, was he made aware of these rules? Because, listen, if I'm going to be fighting in your country, like, was he given a booklet? Was he made to watch a training video like we do at work or something? What was he fully informed? Because if he wasn't, then it was just a honest mistake. And pulling him out of a fight where now he's not going to get paid, I think it's a harsh penalty. I will disagree with Kenny though. It is being in the sauna is dangerous, although it's common practice. I don't like when fighters do it because what you're doing is you're draining your water weight, which is basically what fighters do to try to make weight. But a lot of times in doing that, you lose a liquid in your brain, and that can be dangerous. So it's more not necessarily a performance enhancer; it's more protecting the fighter. Now, do I think the fight should have got stopped and him being pulled out? No. Also, I am curious as to how they found out. Like, are there pictures of him? Is it video footage? Like, did he say it on an interview? I tried to read up on it, and nobody pretty much had an answer as to how the BBFC ended up finding out. So I don't like it. I understand it, but I do want to know, was Casimero informed? Also, how did the commission find out that he did use a sauna?
Yeah, you know what? I have a theory here. I think just to give my quick thoughts on this, I think like it's possible that because they weren't hiding it or something. Like maybe they wanted to check up on him. They're like, yeah, just tell him I'm over here. Like I'm at the sauna. Like, and they were probably like, this is terrible. You're in the sauna. Like. How dare you? Like that's something more like an Indian accent than a British accent. But anyway, I just think that's what it was. I think he was just chilling in the sauna, like, yo, like I'm over here, like what do you guys need? You know what I mean? Like, and they caught him. Beeb, what do you make of it, brother? How do you feel about the situation?
Remember in the Raging Bull? When Jake LaMotta was in the sauna and he had an ice cube in his mouth and he was running, trying to make weight for his fight. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is what boxing's all about, man. You got to do, these are the things that people do. There's been a lot of mixed information about saunas. Some people swear by them, saying it flushes out your system, it cleanses you, opens up your pores, it's good. And other people say, well, if you stay too long in there, obviously it's not the most safe thing in the world. So there's one thing about using a sauna and there's another thing about abusing a sauna. Now, if he's friggin' sleeping in there overnight, then yeah, that's a problem. But if he's spending, I'm sure he's going in there for an hour, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes at a time, possibly an hour, whatever. People do that all the time at gyms, and there's really no problem with that. So for that to be a rule, I think it's ridiculous. Fighters do a lot worse things. What's the difference between going in a sauna and then putting on a rubber suit and jogging, in a real hot area or something like that? That's just as dangerous, probably more dangerous, right? All of these fighters who starve themselves to make weight, is that safe too? So again, cutting weight is a tough thing to do. Obviously, they want to make it as safe as possible, but I don't think that you could sit there and say that a sauna, if it's used responsibly, is going to be dangerous to a fighter, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm looking over the rules right now, and I don't see anything about a sauna. I swear to God. Okay? I posted the link in the chat. I don't see anything about saunas. Like, I see a lot of vague things being said, So they have to, that when a contestant is overweight, they're allowed 1 hour from time of the weigh-in to achieve the correct weight. If it's still overweight, it's such an hour, no further weighing is allowed. I mean, we kind of know about that rule. Boxers to weigh in on the day of the tournament, provided that no boxer reduces weight following the weigh-in. It's just a lot of vague stuff. I mean, obviously, I don't know if they give them additional things and stuff, but I do know this, though. I know that when Clarissa Shields went to England for the first time, there was a certain rule that she had to be at a certain weight before a certain date, right? And she tweeted out to fighters, like, hey, if you ever fight in England, just FYI, you got to be at this weight before, I forgot what the date was, right? And a lot of other fighters, like Michaela Mayer, responded to her saying, whoa, okay, I didn't know that. If I ever fight there, I'm going to have to be aware of that. So I don't know. I think Casimero's team does have to have some responsibility here. Because if this is a rule, I just need the rule reference. Like, can the BBBofC point to me in some way? I'm sure it should be simple. Give me the number, whatever it is, where I need to look at, where it specifically says using a sauna to cut weight is not allowed, right? I need to know where that's at. Maestro, I know you're chopping at the bit. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm actually infuriated the more and more this topic gets discussed, because I feel bad for Casimero. I mean, I know how difficult it is to go through a championship fight training camp, not because I've done it, but because, you know, I was an amateur when I was younger in the gym that had championship fighters in the gym, and I know what they went through preparing for these fights, including the dieting and the nutrition aspect of it. The guy sacrificed tremendously for this. He's gone to the other man's home country, and it also speaks to a problem that exists in boxing. Boxing does not have a FIFA. Boxing does not have a FIBA. Boxing does not have like an international organization that creates uniform rules that apply everywhere in the world. So if you were playing in a football match, regardless of where you're playing it, it comes under the rules of FIFA. You know, and UEFA is aligned with FIFA. And, you know, the idea that a fighter has to memorize, the nuanced rules of every little rinky-dink jurisdiction all over the world, that's an impossible standard to apply to an athlete. And if I'm part of his team, I'm going to get the best solicitors, they call them out there in England, and I'm suing these people so bad that they might just run out of business, the BBOs, because this is ridiculous. And I remember when Billy Joe lost the opportunity to fight against Boo Boo Andrade. Remember, it was taking place. Joe, was it in Providence or was it in Boston? I think it was in Boston.
Massachusetts, Daddy.
And they popped Billy Joe for a substance that was like not banned in like his home jurisdiction. It's like there's 50 states in the United States, plus there's all kind of Indian reservations, plus there's Puerto Rico. You know, I mean, the amount of different jurisdictions in this country alone, let alone all across the world, like there's got to be a situation that just standardizes all of these rules so that this kind of stuff does not ever happen again. That's what I think.
Yeah. So guys, just and we're gonna do this really quick because we're gonna have enough time to talk about Canelo in about 2 weeks. But Canelo came out and he said they asked him, boxing scene, Kieth Idec, shout out to him, has a story, but they asked Canelo, what do you think about the Murata fight? Canelo basically said, I wasn't impressed. He did what he was supposed to do. But then he added, I've never been impressed. Like he added that point about Gennady Golovkin. I just want you guys' thoughts on this really quick. We'll go around. And again, really quick, because we're about to wrap up. But George, what you make about that?
It doesn't surprise me one bit that Canelo made these comments. But I don't know what the point of it, a point of him, you know, saying comments like that, other than, you know, there's a legit beef there that they have with each other. I mean, that's what you do, right? When you have this beef with somebody, you try to point out every flaw, and, you know, you're nitpicking what you think they're doing wrong. I mean, to us, I mean, at least to me, I thought it was a pretty good performance. I didn't see nothing that was terribly wrong. I mean, other than him having a slow start, you know, he got the finish. He went in there where he was supposed to. He did what he was supposed to do in there. You know, shaky in the beginning, but I don't know, man. I think it's just a true beef that they have with each other, and he just nitpicking at a Triple G.
All right, Maestro. Quick thoughts on this. He also added, by the way, I'm only doing this fight because the fans wanted. I didn't want this fight.
Well, I mean, in terms of why he said it, because, you know, these guys literally won't allow the man to walk to the grocery store in peace without putting a camera in his face and asking him for a comment. Welcome to the life of Canelo. I mean, if I'm Canelo, I probably would have agreed with that statement. I mean, the most impressive thing about what Golovkin did with Murata was that he did it at the age of 40. I mean, why should that make you want to fight a guy? Like, you're impressed because he did something as a 40-year-old, and now you're expecting him to be excited to fight a 40-year-old. I mean, I agree with Canelo. Like, he doesn't want to fight this fight. I mean, what is there in it for beating a 40-year-old? If he wins, yeah, well, you just beat a 40-year-old. You know, I mean, and if he loses, which I don't think he will lose, you just got your ass whooped by a 40-year-old. Like, there's no real outcome in that situation that is beneficial to Canelo other than the money that he's going to make. So, you know, I agree with what Canelo said. I would have said the same thing if somebody put a camera in front of me and was like, yo, what did you think about the Triple G fight? I mean, I wasn't that impressed. He's a 40-year-old. I guess that's impressive. Do you want to fight him? No, not really. I'm only doing this because the fans want me to. Like, that's the truth.
Authentic. There we go. Babe, like, what you make of it, brother?
I don't think he's impressed with him now. I think he was once impressed with him when he first fought him. But as time went on, they obviously had their bad blood. I don't want to see the third fight. I'm not crazy about it. Obviously, I'll watch it. But, yeah, I just think that he is doing this because from what I've been told, there's a lot of people in Mexico that really want him to knock Golovkin out because they still hold bad blood towards Golovkin for what he said about Canelo and how he kind of dragged his name through the mud with all those allegations. And, you know, so that's why we are where we're at right now. And I guess the Zone really wants this fight, and they've always wanted this fight for whatever reason. But I don't think he's crazy about the fight. I don't think he's impressed with Golovkin right now. And, yeah, I just think he's doing it because he's going to get paid a lot of money to do it, and his fans want him to do it over in Mexico. So he is doing it for the people, I believe.
All right. Kenny T, talk to us, brother. What do you think?
I was actually very impressed by the trash talk. It's professional trash talk. You attack the man's skills. You don't attack the man. He ain't go in there talking about, oh, well, Golovkin's a bitch. He actually went in there. No, I'm not impressed by Golovkin. I don't want to fight this guy. I've never been impressed by this guy. Bro, that's the shit you got to talk. I'm all about trash talk and keeping it factual, and that's the smack I want to hear. And Canelo's never really been a guy to talk smack lately. The older Canelo is the smack talker, and I'm enjoying it. Keep it coming. Keep doing it, bro. Full force. Matter of fact, turn up the aggression on the trash talk. Let's go. And I don't think anybody really wants to see a third Canelo Triple G fight, but I do want to see a brutal KO in there. So I'm with the Mexicans on this one.
Your wish is gonna come true, Kenny.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, man.
Let's be honest, guys. If Canelo fought Murata, right, he would get crucified by the fans and the media
100%.
for fighting Murata. Okay, so I think he looks at that and he says, "Yo, this dude's beating dudes that, like, if I fought these dudes, like, everybody would be crucifying me. I'm about to fight fucking Bivol, bro. Right? I'm unifying belts. I'm becoming undisputed. I'm doing all these great things while this guy's like riding my coattail. This motherfucker's getting paid because of me. They're paying him $20 million to fight fucking, that dude over there in Madison Square Garden. I already forgot his name, but
Steve Rose.
Like, he got $20 million to fight that dude. Why? Because they thought he was going to get the Canelo fight. That's why. He's getting paid. He's eating off of Canelo. And he still has the nerve to talk shit. And he's the one begging for the fucking third fight. And then he turns around and says, well, I don't need to prove anything to Canelo. If you don't need to prove anything and you're so satisfied with yourself, why are you begging for the third fight like you've been begging for the third fight? Because, yes, let's be honest. He followed him all the way to the zone. Whatever Canelo did, he did it. Right? Canelo signed with the zone. I signed with the zone too. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's whatever to me. But, I mean, for me anyway, I mean, it was a good win, but everyone always follows up with the same thing. It was a good win because he's 40. Well, if you have to point that out, then obviously, so what? It wouldn't be a good win if he was 35 or what? What does that mean? Like only because he's 40?
Yep.
If it's only a good win because he's 40, then we got to question the level of the win. So I think Canelo looks at that and he says, yeah, no, nobody would give a fuck if I beat that dude. Nobody would give a fuck if I beat Pinata or whatever the dude's name was, okay? Pinata, what's the dude's name? Like, it's Ryan with Pinata. Cirametta. And he looks like a Pinata to me, okay? And he got paid handsomely for it, okay? And now dude's up, now he's suing Oscar and all this other shit. But anyway, the link is in the chat, all right? for overtime. All right. If you want to go to overtime and Maestros. All right. The link's in the chat. All I got to say is this. Next week, Roundtable, Ringside Reporter. The week after that, Roundtable, Maestro A. Okay? So back-to-back weeks. These are 2 big weeks. Okay? Next week is a Tater Serrano and the Valdez Shakur. So be here. Mark your calendars. I don't want to hear, YouTube didn't give me a notification. Roundtable is the same time every fucking week. Okay? And you know the channel that it goes through, all right?
Whoa.
And I'm just saying. All right. Also, the week after that's Canelo Bivol. It's literally right around the corner. That's crazy to me. All right. Which to me is a very dangerous fight. Everyone go to the link that's been, I posted in the wrong chat. But anyway, the link is there. Check it out. Be there or be square. This is D-Style Boxing.
D-Style Boxing.
Keep it boxing.
Keep it.
We're out of here. Peace.